Why would a janitor be staring at the company's critical error logs at 2 in the morning? A figure in a faded uniform stands alone outside a glass-walled boardroom watching lines of code fail in real time. His hands hold a mop. His eyes track system failures like he's seen them 1,000 times before. But here's the twist. He isn't supposed to know what any of it means, or is he? If this kind of story makes you curious, the quiet ones, the overlooked ones, the stories no one sees coming, then maybe consider liking this video and hitting that subscribe button. It helps more than you know, and it means we get to tell more stories just like this one. All right, ready? Let me show you what happened when a CEO secretly followed her janitor after work and discovered something that changed everything. There is something strange about how quiet a building feels after midnight. The humming of servers, the occasional click of a fluorescent light, the wind rattling against the floor-to-ceiling windows that overlook the harbor. Olivia Ramirez stands alone in her glass-walled office on the top floor of Erexa Labs, a startup that designs wireless health monitoring systems. From this angle, the ocean looks like polished steel under the streetlights. Waves move but feel completely silent behind the thick glass. She holds a porcelain coffee mug in her hands. Steam has long since stopped rising from it. She has not touched it for an hour. Her eyes stay locked on the security footage looping on her second monitor. There it is again. Frame 217 or wait. A shadow figure walks down corridor C5. A janitor cart. A man, Ethan Brooks, the night janitor. Single dad, 45. Works the graveyard shift. Quiet, reliable, invisible, or so she thought. The timestamp rolls. 11:46 p.m. The man in the navy jumpsuit reaches the door labeled Data Systems, authorized personnel only. His shoulders check left then right. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out something small, an access badge. Not the yellow temp card he should have. A blue badge, admin level. Beep. The door unlocks. Ethan slips inside. Olivia freezes. Her reflection stares back at her from the dark window, wide eyes, tension drawn tight around her mouth. Her own face superimposed over the harbor behind her. She scrubs the video back, watches again. Same hesitation, same badge, same entry. Why she checks the log. No scheduled maintenance, no cleaning request. His shift ends at 10. This is nearly 2 hours later. The mouse cursor hovers over the security system. Her fingers twitch. Should she call security? Should she report this to the board? Terminate immediately. She exhales sharply, clicks open Ethan's employee file. Thin, too thin. 4 years at Erexa. No college degree listed. Previous jobs: warehouse, labor delivery driver, hotel maintenance. No certifications beyond OSHA, safety, and janitorial. Nothing that explains why he would access their data servers. She tabs back to the footage. The camera angle switches. Inside the server room now. Ethan moves slowly, methodically. He kneels by rack D7. His hands don't fumble, they glide. He opens a small maintenance panel, reaches inside, adjusts a set of cables, not random, precise. He pulls something from his cart. It looks like an external hard drive. No, wait. He plugs it into a test port. A maintenance diagnostic tool. Standard equipment for IT techs, not janitors. The screen on the device lights up. Numbers scroll. Ethan watches. Waits. Then he removes the tool, tucks it back under cleaning supplies, and runs his hand over the server cabinet. Gently, almost protectively. The server room door clicks shut behind him. Olivia leans back, stunned. She looks down at her hands. They are trembling slightly. The coffee mug is still there, cold now. She looks back at the window, her own reflection still merged with the city. Her mouth tightens. She opens her email client, types quickly. Subject termination request, Ethan Brooks. Her fingers hover over send. They do not move. Instead, she switches tabs back to the security footage, watches the loop again, pauses on the frame where Ethan looks directly at the camera. He doesn't know it's there, or maybe he does. His expression is unreadable. Her lips press into a line. She clicks print frame. A sheet of paper hums out of the printer behind her. She picks it up, studies it. Ethan's face, caught in grayscale, eyes slightly down but focused. Then she folds the paper in half, slides it into her leather handbag. The clock on her wall blinks 2:14 a.m. Her gaze shifts back to the window. Outside, the waves roll on, steady, indifferent. Her whisper barely fills the room. "What the hell are you doing, Ethan?" The printer spits out the second copy of the surveillance still. Olivia snatches it before the last corner finishes sliding onto the tray. She studies the photo again. Ethan's face half lit by the sterile glow of the server room, eyes focused but guarded. Not confused, not panicked, composed. Her cursor hovers over the send button on the email titled Termination Request, Ethan Brooks. Her thumb taps the desk, once, twice steady as a metronome. Her mind flickers. Corporate protocol screams one thing, but something else, a quieter instinct, tells her to wait. She stands, slides the photo into the inside pocket of her blazer. The email remains open, unsent, blinking like a threat that has yet to be delivered. Her gaze drifts to the window again. The harbor reflects city lights like spilled mercury. She exhales, sharp, controlled. Then she taps a key. The security feed minimizes. The screen fades to desktop. Fade cut. The camera shifts. A dim hallway, concrete floors. Emergency lights buzz faintly overhead. Down at the far end, the familiar sound of wheels scraping against tile echoes softly. Ethan pushes his janitor cart with methodical precision. The front wheel squeaks every third rotation. He stops at office 402, opens the door quietly. No one's here. Just rows of standing desks, dual monitors, ergonomic chairs abandoned in a rush hours ago. Ethan steps in. His hands wrapped in faded gray gloves pull a spray bottle and a microfiber cloth from the cart. He starts at desk 1. Keyboard, mouse, monitor base, left to right, top to bottom. The movement isn't rushed. It's practiced. But his eyes, they're not on the dust. He glances at a screen still glowing in sleep mode. A debugging console is open, lines of code frozen mid-process. A warning prompt blinks softly. Unhandled exception. Data overflow. Ethan leans slightly, reads. No movement. No reaction. Just takes it in. He doesn't touch the keyboard. He never does. But his head tilts. A subtle nod as if mentally tracing the error. Desk 2. Same routine. He notices a post-it note, recheck API by Friday. Another monitor left unlocked shows a system diagram, familiar nodes, familiar bottlenecks. His gaze lingers for a heartbeat longer than necessary, then moves on. At desk 4, a tablet sits charging. The screen flickers with an open design schematic. Circuits, pathways, signal flow. Ethan adjusts the charging cable. The device was overheating slightly, the back too warm for longevity. He moves it slightly away from the paper stack, ensuring airflow underneath. No one notices. No one will ever know. Another desk. Another problem. A coffee mug sits dangerously close to a laptop's open vent. Ethan moves it 2 inches right. No fuss, no acknowledgement. just small invisible corrections to a world that doesn't see him. The squeaky wheel resumes as he pushes the cart forward. The next stop is the server maintenance wing. He swipes his standard badge, no access. His hand hovers for a second, then lowers. Not tonight. Instead, he turns right toward the mechanical storage room. A mess of cables, routers, backup drives. This is his sanctuary. Not because it belongs to him, but because no one else bothers to come here after hours. Ethan opens a plastic container labeled decommissioned. Inside, a pile of tangled Ethernet cables, power adapters, old routers, half still functional, half junk. He selects a router with a cracked casing but intact ports, checks it, sets it aside carefully. Then digs for a motherboard that looks salvageable. A quiet smile flickers so brief it barely registers. In the corner, a battered corkboard holds pinned notes from employees over the years. Most are yellowed, curling at the edges, but one stands out, new, handwritten in clean block letters. If it matters, take care of it. If it doesn't, why are you touching it? Ethan reads it, just stands there for a moment, not quite smiling, not quite sad. Then he carefully unpins it, folds it once, tucks it into his back pocket. The lights flicker. Midnight passes. Cut back to Olivia. She sits at her desk staring at the frozen draft of the termination email. The cursor blinks, steady, relentless. Her hand hovers, not over the send button this time, but over delete. She doesn't click, not yet. The screen reflects back in her glasses, a line of text from Ethan's file she hadn't noticed before. Tiny, buried, emergency contact Sophie Brooks, age 9, daughter. A long beat of silence. Olivia leans back, her fingers laced together, her jaw tightens. Then, barely audible, a whisper fills the empty office. "Who the hell are you, Ethan?" A low mechanical hum fills the dimly lit conference room, the kind of hum that only happens when electronics stay awake longer than people should. It is 2:04 a.m. A digital clock glows on the wall. Its red numbers cast a faint reflection against the polished table. Around that table, 5 department heads sit slumped, half awake but trying to look sharp. Paper stacks lean dangerously beside open laptops. Coffee cups, mostly empty, form a silent army of exhaustion. At the head of the table, Olivia Ramirez sits, arms crossed, eyes sharp but tired. Her blazer is still immaculate, her hair pulled back tight as if fatigue is not permitted to touch her. "Start from the beginning," she says, voice clipped cool. Daniel, head of IT security, clears his throat. His tie is loosened, the top button undone, a rare break in his usually precise appearance. He taps his keyboard. The wall screen behind him lights up with lines of logs. 3 flagged access attempts, Daniel begins clicking. All within the last 10 days. All after hours. All tied to one badge ID. He clicks again. A name pops up in bold white letters on the dark background. Ethan Brooks. Janitorial staff. The room shifts. Chairs creak. Someone exhales too loud. Daniel continues. "At first we thought it was a system error, a bad read. But the timestamps match door logs and security footage confirms physical presence." A second window appears. Grainy images of Ethan walking the C5 hallway. Same as what Olivia saw earlier. Another click. Footage of him entering the server room. Silence stretches. Any signs of extracted data, Olivia asks, her voice even. It betrays nothing. Daniel hesitates. "We can't confirm. No data breach in the conventional sense. No large file transfers. No unusual outbound traffic." But his cursor circles a point on the log. He did connect a local diagnostic device to rack D7 for approximately 7 minutes. Diagnostic device, one of the VP's echoes. Yes, something that reads internal performance. Could be innocent maintenance level. Could also be preparatory. Daniel doesn't finish the sentence. Olivia leans back, fingers steepled. Her eyes drift not to the screen, but to the pile of folders beside her. Names, projects, patent files. She glances at her own laptop, a spreadsheet left open, rows of quarterly projections, margin analyses, risk assessments all blurring together now. A coffee cup nearby still trembles slightly. Someone's knee bouncing under the table. Daniel adds quieter. This comes at a bad time. You know, we're weeks from finalizing the Vital Link launch. Any leak, even suspicion, it could destabilize the whole deal with Horizon Medical. Nobody speaks. The gravity hangs too loud. Olivia's eyes shift to the clock again. 2:11 a.m. now. Then to the window, the harbor still out there, quiet, dark, indifferent. Finally, she says, is there a motive? Any sign he's been approached by competitors? Daniel shakes his head. None. His background, it's thin. No debts. No criminal history. No connections to anyone flagged. Another VP scoffs quietly. Or maybe he's just smarter than we thought. Olivia doesn't respond to that. Instead, her hand reaches into the inside pocket of her blazer. She unfolds the photo, the printout from earlier. Looks at it, holds it a little longer than she should. Then folds it again, places it face down on the table. Her gaze lifts, steadier now. Keep this contained, she orders. No reports outside this room. No security intervention yet. Daniel frowns. Yet Olivia confirms. Until we understand what the hell is actually going on. A long pause. Then she stands. The chair rolls back with a hollow scrape. This meeting's over. The room doesn't move for a moment, as if waiting for something else. Something more. But nothing comes. Olivia grabs her tablet, her jacket, the folded photo. Walks toward the glass door. Stops. Looks back once. Her voice quieter but sharper cuts through. Don't underestimate ghosts. They tend to know the walls better than anyone. Then she walks out. The sound of her own footsteps echoes too loud as Olivia crosses the marble floor toward the elevator. The glass doors close behind her. The conference room now sealed off like a pressure chamber she has no interest in revisiting tonight. Her fingers tap the elevator's down button, too quickly, as if speed could untangle the mess in her head. The bell dings. The doors slide open, and for the briefest moment her reflection stares back at her, caught between polished steel panels. Half her face sharp, the other half blurred. The doors close. The hum of descent becomes a hum of memory. Fade to flashback. A sunlit day. A campus courtyard bursting with noise. Graduation caps tossed into the air like flocks of birds. Olivia stands among them, 22, bright-eyed, laughter caught mid-breath. Her mother claps. Her father grins with awkward pride. Someone hands her a bouquet of lilies. A snapshot of possibility, a life unwritten. Cut. Another scene. A wedding. Small, elegant, coastal. Her hand slips into a man's, both of them grinning as cameras flash. His name is David, software engineer, clever, charming. The kind of charm that feels solid at first until one day it doesn't. Cut. A kitchen table. Bills spread across the surface. The faint buzz of a fridge that leaks water from the corner. Her fingers tremble over a document. Divorce agreement. Final. A lawyer's voice distant. You're sure about full custody? Her answer is a nod, silent, tired, but certain. Then the hospital, a crib, a tiny boy. Liam. Her hands cradle his head, whispering something inaudible, but the way her fingers tighten like anchoring both of them to the planet is clear enough. Then nights. So many nights. Rocking him to sleep, laptop open beside the crib, coding between feedings, pitching to clients between diaper changes. Then the office, her badge, CEO, a new last name, no more David, no more waiting for anyone to save her, the flicker of pride. But behind it, something else. A residue, the knowledge that every locked door she opened came with another wall. Fade back to present. The elevator pings at ground level. She steps out the lobby empty except for a night guard half asleep behind the desk. He nods politely. She pretends not to notice. Outside, the air is sharp, cold. Salt from the bay hangs thick, carried by the wind. Her heels click against the wet pavement as she crosses to the parking garage. Her car waits on level 3, black sedan. Too clean, too precise. A reflection of control, or at least the performance of it. She gets in, closes the door. The sudden silence feels heavier than the wind. Her hands rest on the steering wheel. Not starting the engine, not yet. Her eyes drift across the dashboard, past the GPS, past the clock glowing 3:02 a.m., to the folded paper on the passenger seat. Ethan's photo. A janitor with admin-level access. A single dad with what a secret side job. An addiction, something worse, or something else entirely. She doesn't know. And that bothers her more than she's willing to admit. For someone like Olivia, someone whose life has been a carefully curated string of calculated risks, not knowing is a form of drowning. She exhales, sharp, turns the key, the engine hums to life, then pauses. Her fingers hover over the steering wheel. Something shifts, a decision that hasn't yet caught up to her consciously, but her body already knows. She flips the center console open, pulls out a pair of plain black gloves, slides them on, then tucks the photo back into her coat. Her thumb taps the dashboard screen, pulls up the security feed, camera C5 parking exit. Ethan's car, an old silver hatchback, is still there, still on shift, still inside. Her voice low, more to herself than anything. "Let's see where you go, Mr. Brooks." She shifts into drive. The garage gate lifts. Her car eases into the night. The city stretches ahead. All quiet, all asleep, except for two people. One who knows exactly where he's going, and one who intends to find out. The road curves south, away from the glass towers of downtown, away from the sanitized order of wealth. Olivia keeps her distance. 3 car lengths back, headlights off, parking lights only. The sedan hums beneath her engine, smooth, nearly silent on the asphalt, slick with salt air. Ahead, Ethan's silver hatchback rolls steadily, not fast, not hurried. Like a man with a place to be. A routine so ordinary it becomes invisible. But not tonight, not to her. She watches as he passes the last set of streetlights marking the financial district, their cold white glow giving way to dim sodium lamps that buzz like tired insects. The city changes here. The roads narrow, sidewalks crack, fences sag under the weight of rust and neglect. Storefronts shift from sleek glass to plywood and graffiti. Bars that never closed versus shops that never reopened. A broken neon sign flickers open 24 hours, but the window below it is boarded shut. Ethan's car turns right. Olivia follows. The road hugs the coastline now. On her left, the ocean stretches out, black as ink. Only the white foam of waves catches the faint glow from the highway. The sound of surf, soft, persistent, filters through the cracks in her windows. On the right, rows of duplexes lean against each other like tired men in a bar. Paint-peeled roofs sagging. Chain-link fences guard patches of dry grass or forgotten bicycles. A group of teenagers stands under a streetlight, hoods up, hands buried deep in pockets, watching nothing yet watching everything. One of them glances as Olivia's sedan glides past. His face is unreadable, just another silhouette in a city of ghosts. Ethan signals left. No hesitation, no looking back. His car rolls into a narrow alley flanked by two crumbling warehouses. One of them has a mural half finished, a whale breaching from a sea of circuitry, its tail lost where the wall collapsed. Olivia slows, lets him gain distance, counts her breath. 1, 2, 1, 2. Steady. At the alley's end, Ethan's brake lights glow red. He turns left again into what looks like a parking lot. Not a business, not a home, a community center. At least it used to be. The sign is barely legible, letters missing, faded paint spelling out Harborview Learning Hub. A building no one notices unless they need it. The hatchback pulls into a spot near the side entrance. Ethan cuts the engine. His figure shifts, leans forward, opens the trunk. Olivia eases her car to a stop a block away. Kills the engine. Dims the dash lights. She watches. Ethan steps out, pops the trunk fully. Reaches in, pulls out a battered duffel bag, then a stack of what looks like old laptops. 2, 3, 4. He balances them with practiced ease, like he's done this 100 times before. No rush, no fumbling. Then he disappears through the side door. Gone. Olivia stays frozen, fingers clenched around the steering wheel, not with fear, not quite, but with something sharper, heavier. A tension that doesn't know where to land. This is not what she expected. Not a handoff in a back alley, not some clandestine meeting with a competitor, a community center, laptops. What the hell is this? Her eyes flicker to the dashboard clock. 3:27 a.m., then to the building. A single light glows from inside, spills through a narrow window, pale, steady. Somewhere beyond that wall, Ethan is doing something that doesn't fit any version of this story she's written in her head. Her jaw tightens. She reaches for her phone, opens the camera app, zooms in, snaps a photo of the entrance, then the barely legible sign, then lowers it. For the first time in hours, she realizes she's not sure whether she wants to know what happens next. From the driver's seat, Olivia adjusts the rearview mirror, not because she needs to adjust something for her hands to do. Her breath fogs the window. She wipes it clear with her sleeve. Her gaze locks on the side entrance of the Harborview Learning Hub. A single overhead light flickers near the door. Moths circle dive, then scatter. Ethan reappears, hands full. The duffel bag slung over one shoulder, the other arm cradles a pile of mismatched hardware, laptops, routers, what looks like a power supply duct-taped at the corners. Nothing looks new. Nothing looks whole. He nudges the door open with his foot, steps inside. The door closes behind him with a hollow click. For a moment, silence. Then light spills from a row of narrow windows along the side wall, fluorescent, cold, steady. Olivia cracks her window an inch, listens. The faintest sounds drift out, voices, not adults, children. A low hum of chatter mixed with the rhythmic clack of keys. Curiosity chews at her hesitation. She kills the parking lights, steps out, keeps to the shadows. Her heels swapped for flats, an old habit from investor trips where blending in mattered. She crosses the street, quiet, careful. Her shoulder brushes a battered chain-link fence sagging under the weight of rust and time. At the nearest window, she peers in. What she sees is not what she prepared for. A room, cramped, fluorescent lit, half the ceiling panels missing, wires snaked down from exposed rafters. Folding tables form a makeshift classroom. At least a dozen kids, ages maybe 8 to 16, sit shoulder to shoulder. Their faces lit by the soft glow of battered laptops. Some screens show lines of code, others schematics of circuit boards. A few display simple 3D renderings of mechanical parts. In the center, a whiteboard leans crooked against the far wall. Drawn on it by a steady, practiced hand is a network diagram. Nodes, pathways, data flows. Olivia's breath catches. She knows this structure. It's Erexa. Not exactly, but unmistakably a derivative of their Vital Link architecture. Simplified, sketched in blue marker, bandwidth distribution, data packet routing, error handling protocols. How her eyes shift there. Ethan, standing at the board, marker in hand, his worn navy work shirt untucked, sleeves rolled to the elbow, his posture relaxed but engaged. A quiet authority radiates off him. He points to a node drawn as a simple circle. When this gets overwhelmed, he says, voice muffled but clear through the glass, the entire system slows down. Or fails. Who remembers how to fix that? A girl, maybe 11, raises her hand. Ponytail. Thin-framed glasses a size too big. Split the load, she says. Add a second node and reroute the overflow. Ethan nods. Exactly, and what do we call that load balancing? The room answers in ragged unison. A flicker of pride crosses Ethan's face. Not big, not performative, just real. He turns, grabs a marker of another color, starts outlining a secondary route. If your system crashes, people suffer. So what's the rule? A chorus replies, half chanting, half laughing. If it matters, protect it. If it doesn't, why are you building it? Olivia stumbles back half a step. That line. It's the same phrase pinned to the corkboard in the mechanical storage room back at Erexa. The one she'd seen. The one Ethan had copied or maybe written. Her heart thuds against her ribs. Not fear, not anger. Something stranger. Confusion mingled with a reluctant, rising respect. Inside, Ethan shifts to a nearby table. Kneels. Helps a boy reconnect the power cable on a mini robot built from salvaged printer parts and scraps of aluminum. The robot jitters, then moves forward a few inches. The boy cheers. Good, Ethan grins. But check the ground wire next time. Safety first. The boy nods, all serious. Olivia's eyes scan the room again. No formality, no grades, no bureaucracy, just learning. Raw, unvarnished, beautiful. She leans against the window frame. A long breath escapes before she knows she's holding it. This isn't corporate espionage. This isn't theft. It's something else. Something harder to define. And somehow infinitely harder to judge. Olivia exhales slow and shallow, as if breathing too loud might change the scene unfolding before her. Her fingers graze the rusted edge of the window frame. Rough metal bites into her skin. She barely feels it. Her focus stays glued to the image behind the glass. The kids laugh now. Not loud, not disruptive. The kind of laughter that belongs to discovery the moment something clicks. When the world suddenly makes sense in a way it never did before. Ethan wipes a hand across the whiteboard. Erases a section, redraws it cleaner, smoother. His voice, though muffled, carries a steady cadence, part instructor, part mentor, part caretaker. A janitor teaching network infrastructure. A janitor debugging a mini robot with a child no older than 9. Nothing about this fits. Nothing about this makes sense. Her throat tightens. An ache rises not from anger, not even confusion anymore. Something else. Something she doesn't have language for yet. Olivia steps back. Just one step. The heel of her shoe crunches against gravel. She stiffens, looks quickly toward the building. No one notices. The windows are narrow, the hum of focus inside too loud to let the outside world intrude. Her hand raises halfway, as if she might knock. As if walking through that door could resolve something she hasn't fully admitted needs resolving. But it hovers, doesn't move. Fingers curl in, then release. She stands like that, caught between the instinct to confront and the strange growing realization that confronting might not even be the right word anymore. Her breath clouds the glass. She wipes it with the side of her palm. A child waves his hand in the air, calling Ethan over. Ethan kneels. The boy points to a schematic on his screen. Ethan listens, really listens, then nods. His hands mimic connections mid-air, guiding, not doing. No lectures, no hierarchy, just help. Olivia watches the scene shift in real time. Her eyes soften. The sharp lines around her mouth ease. Then something flickers. A shadow. Not outside. Inside. A flicker of something old. Memory. Her mother. Sitting at a kitchen table 30 years ago, helping her with math homework neither of them fully understood. Her mother's hands tracing numbers in pencil, saying, "Let's figure it out together." The sensation hits before the thought forms. A hollow swell deep in her chest. Her hand lowers. Slowly, deliberately, she takes a step back, then another. The distance feels heavier than it should. A part of her whispers, "Go inside, ask, understand." But the louder part, the one honed by boardrooms and betrayal and the hard geometry of corporate survival, says no. Not yet. Her foot catches a piece of broken curb. She steadies herself. Looks down. An old bottle cap rusted into the concrete. Useless. Forgotten. Just there. A mirror, maybe. Her gaze lifts. Back to the window, back to Ethan, back to this impossible, inexplicable version of the man she thought she understood. Then she turns, walks quick but not rushed back toward her car. Her hands fumble with the door handle. The keys feel heavier now. She slides into the driver's seat, pulls the door closed. The outside world muffles instantly. Only her own breathing fills the cabin now. For a moment, she just sits. Then her fingers move. The ignition clicks. The engine hums. Her eyes linger one last time on the glowing windows of the Harborview Learning Hub, her whisper barely audible. Not a statement, not a judgment, just truth, raw and uneasy. What are you? She shifts into gear, pulls away. The building fades into the rear view. The ocean still hums in the distance. The city swallows her headlights one block at a time. The next evening, Olivia parks her sedan across the street. Same building. Same flickering sign that reads half-heartedly, Harborview Learning Hub. But tonight she does not stay in the car. She steps out, crosses the street flats instead of heels. A choice made hours ago without admitting to herself why. The front entrance is older than it looks from afar. The door painted a pale blue, long faded by salt air sticks slightly before swinging open. A chime overhead jingles, a sound that belongs more to corner shops than to community centers. Inside, the air smells of old books, soldering wires, and something warm, maybe soup or coffee left on a burner too long. A woman stands behind a cluttered reception desk. Mid-60s, hair silver but thick, round glasses perched at the tip of her nose. Her cardigan looks handmade, deep maroon with mismatched buttons. She looks up, studies Olivia for half a second longer than courtesy requires. Not suspicious, just practiced. Her smile forms slow but genuine. "Evening, can I help you?" Olivia hesitates. Her voice does not come right away, then smooth, practiced high. "I was curious about the center. I noticed the sign driving by last night. Didn't realize there was a program running this late." The woman nods, a knowing tilt of the head. We keep odd hours sometimes. Easier for some of our folks. Parents with night shifts. Kids who need a quiet place after the world gets noisy." Her name tag reads Lynn Carter, Program Director. Olivia extends a hand. "Olivia? Just Olivia." Lynn shakes it. Warm, firm, no nonsense. "Welcome, just Olivia." A pause, then a soft chuckle between them. The tension thins just a hair. Lynn gestures toward the hallway behind her. "We're small, but we make it work." "You looking for programs for someone?" Olivia weighs her answer. "No. Just curious." Lynn doesn't push, doesn't prod, just nods. Leans slightly against the desk, hands folded. "This place wasn't supposed to exist," Lynn says. "City funding dried up 6 years ago. Building was on the list for demolition, but some of us, we couldn't let it go." Her fingers tap the edge of the desk, a rhythm of memory. "We started with one table, 3 old laptops, a broken printer. Figured if nothing else, give the kids a place to sit, to learn, to not be out there." Her head tilts toward the window, the street, the world beyond. Olivia follows the gesture, sees the same sagging fences, cracked sidewalks, dim street lamps she drove past the night before. Then Lynn's eyes soften just a little. "Of course we were lucky. Found someone who knew a thing or two about keeping things running." She doesn't say the name, she doesn't have to. Olivia's voice lowers, curious, careful. "The man I saw, the one teaching last night." Lynn's smile deepens. Not quite amusement, not quite pride. Something warmer. Ethan Brooks." A pause, then with deliberate weight, "That man is the heartbeat of this place." Olivia blinks. That word. Heartbeat. Lynn continues. "You'd never guess it by looking. Quiet. Keeps to himself. But he's the reason half these kids know what a motherboard is or how to solder a circuit without setting the table on fire." A soft grin. Her hands gesture to a bulletin board behind her. Photos. Dozens of them. Kids holding finished projects. A girl beaming over a repaired keyboard. 2 boys giving thumbs up next to a makeshift robot built from toaster parts. In the center, Ethan. Not smiling, but present. A quiet gravity in every frame. Lynn's voice lowers. Not many folks like him left. People who do things because they're needed, not because it's profitable. Not because it gets their name on some plaque. A long pause. Olivia shifts. Not discomfort, something heavier. Her eyes flick to the photos again, then back to Lynn. "Carefully, does he work here?" Lynn chuckles. "Work, Lord, no. Volunteers, every hour, every laptop salvaged, every line of code taught. That's his doing." Her gaze softens further. Says it's cheaper than therapy. A silence lingers. Not awkward, not rushed, just true. Then Lynn steps aside. "You're welcome to look around, just Olivia. No sales pitch here, no strings." Olivia swallows, nods. Her feet hesitate. Her hands don't know where to rest. For the first time in a long time, she realizes she has walked into a room where money, title, and power mean absolutely nothing. And somehow that terrifies her more than anything. The hallway smells like old plastic and warm solder. Faint hints of dust cardboard and something sweet, maybe someone brought cookies for the kids. Olivia's footsteps soften as she walks past faded posters intro to coding. Cybersecurity basics. Build your own robot. She stops at the edge of the doorway. Inside the same classroom she spied on last night breathes with quiet energy. Folding tables form a rough U-shape. Laptops know two matching hum in varying pitches. Wires snake across floors held down with duct tape. Power strips blink with red and green LEDs. In the middle of it all, Ethan. No janitor's cart, no uniform. Just jeans, a worn navy hoodie with frayed cuffs, and a quiet presence that seems heavier. More grounded than anything Olivia has seen in a boardroom. He leans against the whiteboard, marker in hand. On the board, a diagram sprawls lines, nodes, arrows. A simplified version of a network map. At the top, written in thick, confident strokes, if it matters, protect it. Beneath that smaller, if it doesn't, why are you building it? A group of kids, 9, maybe 12 of them, sit clustered, eyes focused. Some type furiously, others scribble on notepads. One picks at a breadboard connecting jumper wires. Near the front, a girl about 9 leans forward, elbows on the table, brow furrowed in fierce concentration. Her hair is tied in 2 loose braids. Her hoodie has a faded patch of a rocket ship peeling at the edges. Olivia doesn't need anyone to tell her. She knows. Instinctively, that's Sophie, his daughter. Ethan's voice cuts through, not loud, not sharp, but steady. You don't lock your front door because you expect bad people. You lock it because it's common sense. He taps a node on the whiteboard. Same with your code. Same with your network. A boy in the back raises a hand. But if no one's trying to hack us, why bother? Ethan's grin is small. Dry. Because you don't build safety after something breaks. You build it before. He paces, slow, measured. His hand gestures midair, forming invisible frameworks only he can fully see. Here's the rule. He stops, turns to the group. When you solve something, he taps the board 3 times, marking 3 dots beneath the main diagram. Solve it, teach it, pass it on. The room stays silent, not out of confusion, but reverence. Sophie raises her hand, not waiting to be called. Like if I figure out how to fix the firewall, I should show Darius. Ethan nods. Exactly. He turns to Darius, a boy about 12 with oversized headphones resting around his neck. And then when Darius learns it, I show Jasmine. Darius answers without missing a beat. Ethan's smile deepens. Perfect. The rhythm feels practiced, familiar. Not school, not exactly, something older, something more tribal. Knowledge as currency, as inheritance. Olivia leans against the doorframe. Her arms fold, not defensively, just grounding herself. Her gaze flicks to the whiteboard again. That phrase, it lingers, echoes. Solve it, teach it, pass it on. Simple, elegant, almost sacred. Her eyes scan the room. Kids helping kids, older guiding younger. A girl explains Python syntax to a boy still struggling with HTML. Another helps debug a broken microcontroller. No competition, no condescension, just community. Ethan circles back to the board. Draws a big X over one node. Okay, let's say this server crashes, everything bottlenecks here. Who remembers how to bypass it? Sophie shoots her hand up. Redirect the data stream, use the backup node. Ethan clicks his fingers. Yes. And what's that called? Failover protocol, the kids chant together, half laughing. He grins. Right. Why do we care about failover? A chorus, not perfectly in sync, but close enough. Because when people depend on the system, failure isn't an option. A warmth spreads behind Olivia's ribs. Foreign, uncomfortable, but not unwelcome. This isn't charity, it isn't pity, it's dignity. A space where kids who the world walks past every day learn not just how things work, but how to make them work better. Her hands curl slightly, nails pressing into her palms. She doesn't know when that started. Her gaze drifts to Ethan, watching him. How his shoulders relax here in a way they never do in the Arexa hallways. How his voice carries none of the guarded restraint he wears at work. Here he is whole. And somehow that realization lands heavier than any quarterly report ever has. Olivia swallows, looks back at the whiteboard one more time. The marker ink still fresh, the words still sharp. Solve it, teach it, pass it on. She isn't sure if it's a lesson for the kids or for herself. The door clicks shut behind her. Outside, the wind bites sharper than before. The salt air carries more weight now, more grit, more texture, or maybe that's just her breathing too shallow, too uneven. Olivia walks briskly across the cracked asphalt heels, clicking against loose gravel. Her fingers fumble with the key fob. The car chirps open. She slides into the driver's seat, shuts the door. Silence wraps around her like glass. For a moment, her hands don't move. They rest on the steering wheel, knuckles pale from how tightly she grips it. Her eyes stay fixed on the building in her rearview mirror. The lights inside still glow, faint, persistent. Then her fingers move mechanical. Tap the center console. The dashboard lights up, screen flickers awake. She opens the browser, types fast, efficient, muscle memory from years of vetting employees, scanning resumes, checking backgrounds. Ethan Brooks, Harborview, employment history. The first result pulls up a LinkedIn page. Sparse, a single-line maintenance technician, Arexa Labs. 2019, present. No photo, no summary, no connections. She narrows the search, pulls public databases, cross-references employment records, court filings, patent databases. Her breath catches when the next line appears. Former lead systems architect, Novatech Defense. 2011, 2015, her fingers freeze. Then quick, she clicks deeper. A PDF loads, a press release from a decade ago. A younger Ethan stands beside a team of engineers, arms crossed, smile stiff but present. A caption: Novatech unveils breakthrough encrypted drone communication framework. Lead architect Ethan Brooks credited for core design. She leans back, blinks hard, her thumb taps. More files open. A legal case. Brooks versus Novatech Defense, filed 2015, allegation unlawful termination following whistleblower complaint. Her eyes scan the summary. Heart rate ticking up. Plaintiff reported critical security flaw in proprietary communications software that, if left unaddressed, could result in drone miscommunication, potential operational failure, or unintended targeting. She reads faster. Following internal reports, plaintiff was terminated citing performance issues, despite prior exemplary evaluations. Plaintiff alleges termination was retaliation for reporting safety risks. Settlement: undisclosed sum. No admission of fault. Her jaw clenches. Fingers tremble now, not from cold. She scrolls. More articles. A blog post dated shortly after the case closed. Industry Insider: the curious disappearance of Ethan Brooks. She skims. Once considered a rising star in secure communications architecture, Brooks vanished from the defense sector following his legal dispute with Novatech. Multiple sources suggest an informal blacklist may have been circulated, limiting future employment opportunities within high-level systems engineering. Then a personal obituary. Melissa Brooks, 1981, 2016. Cancer, long battle, survived by husband Ethan and daughter Sophie, age 3 at the time. Olivia swallows hard. Her hands curl tighter around the steering wheel. The timeline paints itself whether she wants it to or not. 2015, Ethan loses his job, loses his career. 2016, loses his wife. 2017, starts showing up in public employment records again, but now as janitorial staff, entry-level maintenance, low pay, no prestige. And yet her eyes flick back to the building. Inside, that same man stands at a whiteboard teaching packet routing protocols to kids in second-hand clothes, soldering broken laptops back to life, handing out knowledge like spare change no one else bothered to carry. No bitterness, no complaint, just presence. Her breath comes sharp, uneven. This was never a man trying to steal corporate secrets, never espionage. This was a man who rebuilt his purpose out of the pieces nobody else wanted. She exhales, runs a hand through her hair, pulls it back tighter. A reflex, a shield. Her gaze drifts to the folded paper still tucked into the cup holder. The printout of Ethan's security footage from 2 nights ago. The irony feels heavier now, almost cruel. Her fingers hover. For a moment, they reach for the delete history button on the search bar. But she doesn't press it. Not yet. Not because she needs the information anymore, but because she needs the reminder. A quiet voice, not her own, but familiar echoes inside her chest. Solve it, teach it, pass it on. She starts the car, puts it in drive. The building fades behind her, but its light does not. The building breathes differently after midnight. No voices, no footsteps, no ringing phones, just the hum. The hum of servers, the faint rhythmic pulse of cooling fans. The distant mechanical whisper of HVAC systems cycling air through endless ducts. A world that most employees never see awake. Ethan moves through it like a shadow that belongs here more than the people who walk these halls by day. His janitor cart rolls softly, the squeaky wheel long since fixed. No more noise. Silence is a choice. A montage begins. He stops by a supply closet. Not for cleaning supplies, but to pull out a bundle of mismatched Ethernet cables. Neatly coils them. Checks each connector. Tosses one that's frayed. Downstairs, he pauses by the server rack labeled Core 2. The access panel is slightly ajar. Not a big deal. No one notices, but he does. His gloved fingers reach in, snap the latch closed, then pause. His eyes scan the LED indicators. One flashes amber instead of green. Memory loads like a program booting. He knows what that means. He kneels, pulls a notebook from his cart. Not digital. Analog paper. Opens it to a page half filled with dates codes, shorthand notes only he understands. Rack C2, node 5, cooling delay spike. Third occurrence. He scribbles tonight's timestamp beside it, tucks the notebook away, stands, moves on. Next, a conference room. Someone left a prototype tablet plugged in overnight. The charge indicator blinks red hot. Overheating. Ethan unplugs it, lets it cool, then shifts it onto a ceramic tile coaster, the kind janitors aren't supposed to touch but engineers never think to use. A small correction. A silent protection. No one will notice. But it matters. The design lab. He glances through the glass wall. Whiteboard still cluttered with code snippets, flowcharts, half-erased formulas. A sticky note hangs crooked near the corner. Test fails at 256K packets. Ethan stares at it a beat longer than necessary. His brow furrows. A mental connection clicks, then slips away. Too late. Not his problem, or not supposed to be. The maintenance bay. A pile of discarded server blades sits half-stacked against a wall, marked decommissioned for disposal. He sifts through them, pulls one, checks the board, cracks around the power regulator but the CPU intact. It goes into the bottom of his cart. Not theft. Salvage. For something better. For someone else. Back upstairs. A hallway light flickers. He opens the ceiling panel, tightens a loose wire. The flickering stops. No one will ever know why it fixed itself. They'll just assume it wasn't broken that badly to begin with. By the east stairwell, a leak. Condensation from a failing vent. He positions a bucket, not just underneath the drip, but aligned so no one trips over it on their way in tomorrow morning. A note, simple, scrawled in block letters, wet floor, be careful, fix scheduled. Then the executive floor. Ethan walks by Olivia's office, pauses. His reflection catches in the glass the tired eyes, the slouched posture that disappears when he's teaching. The man who exists here but does not belong. His gaze shifts to the floor-to-ceiling windows. The harbor stretches beyond. Waves roll under the streetlights like liquid steel. For a moment, his hand rests against the glass. Fingers splay. A gesture so small it might not mean anything. Or it might mean everything. The city moves, slowly, quietly, blind to the people who hold it together when no one's looking. He exhales, then turns, pushes the cart onward. Last stop, the mechanical room. He opens his notebook again, adds a line beneath the earlier entry. Node 5 cooling issue escalating. Recommend check before load increase. He flips back a page. Drawn in pen, a schematic. Not company property, just knowledge, a habit. A simple line at the bottom written in small block letters. Solve it, teach it, pass it on. The lights flicker once. Settle. Ethan closes the notebook, slides it back into his cart, pushes forward. Unseen, unacknowledged but not unaware. The hallway outside the development wing feels different from the others, brighter. Cleaner, newer carpet. Glass walls where fingerprints never stay long, someone cleans them regularly. Someone like him. Ethan pushes the cart with one hand, microfiber cloth tucked into his back pocket. The faint buzz of overhead lights mixes with the deeper hum of processors behind closed doors. As he rounds the corner, a door swings open fast. Clumsy. A young man bursts out, hoodie half-zipped, backpack bouncing off one shoulder, AirPods dangling from his ears. His badge reads Evan Kim, Software Engineer 2. The kid's typing mid-stride, phone in hand, thumb flying. His eyes don't even register Ethan as he passes. Gotta go, yeah, I'll finish the patch from home. The door swings closed behind him, but not fully. It clicks, then bounces open an inch. Ethan's cart slows, his eyes narrow, he steps forward. Pushes the door fully open, inside chaos in quiet form. Coffee cups, post-it notes everywhere, screens still awake, casting pale blue over ergonomic chairs pushed out of line. And on the nearest desk, a laptop. Open, logged in, command lines blink. A debugger window runs in real time. Back-end architecture loaded, segments of proprietary code visible like the skeletal structure of the entire Vitalink system. Ethan's jaw tightens. Not surprise, not even disappointment, just the quiet resignation of someone who has seen this happen more times than anyone would believe. He walks over, doesn't look at the code, doesn't touch the keyboard. His hand hovers for a second. Then he closes the lid. The sleep light pulses, the device now idle but vulnerable. A glance to the wall. Near the corner, a beige metal box, a fireproof document safe. Company standard. Half the staff doesn't even remember it's there. Ethan steps over, pulls the handle. It creaks open. Empty but for a few emergency manuals. He lifts the laptop, places it inside, closes the door, spins the lock, checks it twice, then from his pocket pulls a sticky note, writes carefully in block letters left unsecured. Found at 1:47 a.m., secured and safe, EB. He sticks it dead center on the engineer's desk. Visible, unignorable. A pause. Ethan steps back, breathes, lets his hands fall to his sides. Then slowly his gaze shifts not to the door, not to the workstation, but to the far corner. A table, out of the main walk path, half buried under boxes labeled Old Doc's Shred. On the table, something familiar, a sheet of drafting paper, yellowed, curling at the edges, hand-drawn schematics, traced lines, annotated ports, bandwidth equations scribbled in margins. His hand moves before thought catches it, brushes aside a stack of faded manila folders. There it is, a system diagram, old. Predecessor to the very framework Erexa runs on now. His own handwriting fills the edges notes from a life that doesn't officially exist anymore. At the bottom in thick faded ink a phrase boxed off as if it mattered more than any line of code on the page. Build. Protect. Pass it on. Not solve, not teach. This came before everything fell apart, before blacklists, before janitor carts and second-hand routers. A breath sticks in his chest, tight, heavy. For a moment his thumb traces the line of words. Not to erase, not to change, just to remember. Footsteps echo down the hallway, a security guard making rounds. Ethan steps back, slides the paper deeper under the folders, safe, not hidden, just placed, as if waiting for someone to care again. He turns, pushes the cart toward the exit. The hallway stretches ahead, quiet, empty. But somehow not as lonely as it felt 10 minutes ago. The conference room feels smaller tonight, not physically, but the air thicker, denser. The kind of air that happens when something goes very, very wrong. Every chair is filled, department heads, senior engineers, the CTO, legal, a compliance officer Olivia has only met twice before. The table is littered with open laptops, empty coffee cups, and folders so hastily stacked that half are spilling onto the floor. On the wall-mounted screen, a simple line of red text. Critical error, data sync failure. Patient vital reports. A heartbeat of silence, then noise. Are you serious? Someone blurts. How long has this been happening since the last firmware push? 48 hours, maybe longer. 48 hours, and we're just catching this now because it's intermittent. A developer slams his palm against the table. It doesn't trip until the data crosses a certain load threshold. The CTO's voice slices through. Okay, no panic. Walk me through it. A systems engineer points to the screen, fingers jittery. The Vitalink monitors they're sending corrupted data. Not junk, but mismapped values. Explain. Heart rate tagged as blood oxygen. Blood oxygen tagged as respiration rate. But only sometimes. Only under high packet loads. A VP rubs her temples. Jesus, that's not a glitch. That's a liability nightmare. Legal shifts in his seat. If a doctor makes a call based on wrong vitals, he doesn't finish. Doesn't need to. Is this live? Olivia's voice cuts calm but sharp. Daniel from IT security nods grimly. About 30% of our active units, mostly the newer batch. A younger engineer flips open his laptop, voice too loud. It's the back-end API translation layer. It's collapsing under pressure, the buffers leaking into the wrong handlers. No, it's not someone else snaps. It's the firmware. Look at the stack traces. The device encoding is throwing malformed packets before the server ever sees them. Oh my God, you're blind. The firmware's solid. This is server-side parsing. Check the load balancer logs. Voices overlap. Accusations volley back and forth. Protocol mismatch. No packet corruption, no the encryption handshakes timing out. Stop, Olivia says, firm level, stop talking over each other. Silence tries to return, fails halfway. The CTO presses palms flat against the table. We are 3 weeks from launch. Investors are locked. Press is lined up. If this hits the wrong ears, his voice phrase, we lose everything. Daniel's jaw works. We may have already lost it. If this leaks, legal cuts in colder. Forget leaks. Focus. Are patients at risk right now? A long pause. Too long. Then maybe. Whispered. Not guaranteed, but possible. If someone misreads, the CTO scrubs his face with both hands. Okay. Contain. First step. Pull the firmware. We can't. Why, it's already in over 12,000 devices. A collective intake of breath. A developer pounds the table. It's not the firmware. You're wasting time. Look at the version control, the bugs upstream. The data routing module. Another throws a pen. You think everything's server-side because you don't know embedded systems, man. Then explain why the load balancer's checksums failing under concurrency stress. Because your backend's a duct-taped pile of enough. Olivia's voice cuts through like a snapped cable. Everyone freezes. Her eyes are sharp, not angry, not panicked, focused, the kind of focus that has no room left for fear. Sit, down, breathe. She stands, moves to the board, grabs a marker, draws 3 circles, server, device, API layer, draws arrows between them. We are solving the wrong problem if we don't even agree what the problem is. Her hand stabs the first circle. Is the fault here? Half the room nods. Half shakes their heads. She stabs the second, or here more dissent. She draws a line under it all. Root cause, or we die. Silence. Then a low alarm chimes from someone's laptop. A monitoring dashboard. Error log spike. Another critical fault. Packet loss just jumped. Node 5 is throwing fatal exceptions. Daniel's face drains. Node 5, that's the cooling delay rack. A pause. Everyone turns. Because that's not a known bug. That's something someone logged. Recently. Quietly. Eyes flick around the room, but no one remembers who. Not yet. The conference room door hisses as it slides open. Olivia steps out. The noise stays behind her. Voices still arguing, fingers still jabbing at screens. Fear cycling into blame, blame back into panic. Out here it's quieter, but not peaceful. The hallway feels colder than it should. Or maybe that's just the sweat cooling on the back of her neck. She exhales, a long measured breath. Tries to steady the pulse pounding behind her ribs. Then her eyes catch movement. Down the hall, a janitor cart, rolling, slow, deliberate, and behind it Ethan, worn navy shirt, gray gloves, the same rhythm in his steps he's carried for years. The quiet ritual of someone who's learned that being invisible is safer than being seen. Except he isn't invisible now. His back is to the glass wall of the conference room. But his head tilts, just slightly, his eyes fixed, on the screen inside. Through the glass, the giant dashboard display still glows. Error logs, load graphs, failure spikes climbing like jagged mountains. Ethan doesn't stare like someone confused, doesn't glance like someone curious. He watches, reads, processes. His hands keep moving. A rag wipes the same patch of wall over and over long after it's clean, but his mind is somewhere else entirely. Olivia stands frozen, one foot half turned as if she meant to keep walking, but her body disobeys. A beat, long, heavy. Ethan shifts. His eyes flick left-right like he's tracing pathways, following threads, calculating load balances in his head. Another beat. He doesn't speak, doesn't react to her presence. But Olivia knows. He knows she's watching, and she knows he understands exactly what's happening behind that glass. Her throat tightens. Something sharp. Something bitter. Not because of what he's doing, but because of what it means. The man pushing a mop sees the system failure clearer than the dozen engineers screaming inside that room. A wave of something surges behind her ribs, not fear, not anger, something heavier. Guilt, maybe, or recognition. Ethan finally moves, lets the rag drop back into the cart, checks the spray bottle not because it needs checking but because habits are anchors when the world gets loud. Then he turns, not directly toward her, not fully, just enough. Enough to let their eyes meet. For the first time, not as CEO and janitor, not as supervisor and invisible labor, but as two people standing on opposite sides of the same glass. No words pass between them. They don't need words. In the reflection of the glass, error logs flicker. Failure counts climb. But in the silence between them, something else hangs heavier. A question neither of them speaks out loud. How long have you been seeing what the rest of us refuse to see? A long breath. Olivia shifts. Her hand tightens around the folder in her grip. Fingertips go white. She wants to say something, anything. But the words knot in her throat. And Ethan just watches. Not challenging, not accusing, just present. The same way he's always been. Invisible. Until he isn't. Finally, his gaze breaks. Drops. He adjusts the cart handle, pushes forward, turns the corner, gone. The hallway feels emptier now, but not quieter. Not really, because the noise is inside her head. Her fingers loosen. The folder slips a fraction under her arm. Her breath comes shallow, unsteady. She looks back, through the glass, at the people still shouting, still missing it. Then forward, down the hall, toward the direction Ethan disappeared. And for the first time tonight, she isn't sure which side of the glass she belongs on anymore. Footsteps, soft, measured, not hurried, but not casual either. Olivia rounds the corner, sees him. Ethan stands by the stairwell landing, one hand on the cart handle, the other adjusting a zip tie holding loose wires along the baseboard, or pretending to. She stops, 5 feet away. Neither speaks right away. The silence isn't empty. It's full, dense, heavy with all the things both of them could say but haven't. For a beat, all she hears is the distant hum of server fans, the soft buzz of fluorescent lights, and her own heartbeat. Ethan doesn't turn fully, just glances sideways, waiting. Not surprised, not nervous. Just waiting. Olivia swallows, then voice lower than usual, almost stripped bare, she speaks. Look, her hands flex slightly, unsure where to rest. I don't know what I don't know how to. She stops, starts again. Sharper this time. There's a problem. Ethan's eyes shift, calm, patient. He says nothing. A big one, she adds. System failure, critical. No one in that room. Her breath catches. No one in that room knows how to fix it. Still, he stays silent. Her jaw tightens. She forces the next words out. No titles. Her voice firms. No CEO, no janitor, no past, no baggage. Her gaze lifts, meets his fully. Just help. The words hang there, fragile, stark, unvarnished. Ethan finally shifts, straightens. both hands now resting on the cart handle. His eyes hold hers, steady, searching, measuring, a long breath, then the smallest tilt of his head, not a nod, not yet, more like an acknowledgement, a bridge extended but not yet crossed. He speaks, quiet, even. Are you sure? Not sarcastic, not bitter. Just a simple, honest question. Olivia doesn't flinch. Yes. A pause. I wouldn't ask if I wasn't. Ethan studies her another second longer. Then his gaze softens a fraction. The corner of his mouth shifts. Not a smile. Something quieter. Something harder to name. A breath. Then finally a nod. Small. Precise. All right. His voice is steady. Firm. Then no titles. Another pause. His eyes flick toward the conference room. But this stays in the room. Olivia nods immediately. Agreed, and after he lets the thought hang. Doesn't finish it, doesn't need to. Her answer is simple, honest. We'll figure it out. A beat. Ethan glances down, adjusts the rag on the cart, folds it once, twice. A gesture of closing one task before opening another. Then he steps away, leaves the cart behind. His voice quieter, almost a whisper, but not uncertain. Let's go. They walk, side by side, no words, no small talk. Just the quiet rhythm of two sets of footsteps moving toward a problem neither of them can ignore anymore. As they approach the glass doors of the conference room, Olivia reaches forward, pushes them open, heads turn. Conversations stop mid-sentence. Eyes widen not at her, but at the man walking beside her. Ethan steps in, shoulders squared, not apologizing, not shrinking, just present. The room holds its breath, but Olivia's voice cuts clean through it. Clear the board. A pause. New plan. When Ethan steps through the glass doors, the room changes, not loud, not dramatic, just shifts. A subtle but unmistakable tension, a ripple beneath the surface. Conversations die mid-sentence, heads swivel, eyebrows arch. No one says it out loud, but it's written across every face. Why is the janitor in here? Ethan feels it. Of course he does. But he carries it the same way he's carried every weight for years, quietly, without ceremony. He walks past the first row of chairs, doesn't pause, doesn't flinch. His steps are deliberate, grounded. At the whiteboard, Olivia's last diagram still lingers half erased. Circles, arrows, question marks, uncertainty made visible. Ethan picks up a marker, clicks it open. Silence deepens, the kind that feels loud. One young developer leans toward another, whispering, "Is this a joke?" Another engineer folds his arms. "What's he gonna do? Mop the error logs clean?" A few quiet snickers. Not cruel, just defense mechanisms. Ethan ignores them, doesn't even glance their way. His hand moves, steady. On the board, he draws 3 rectangle servers, adds smaller nodes branching off clients, endpoints, IoT devices, lines connect them, dashed, solid, looped. Next, he writes fault trigger, node 5, cooling delay. That phrase alone snaps one of the developers upright. Wait, how does he know about node 5? Ethan doesn't answer. Just keeps drawing. His hand shifts left. A block labeled translation layer, arrows feeding into it. He circles it twice, writes beneath it, async overload, handshake collapse. Another gasp. Someone mutters, "Holy, that's exactly where the packet loss spike starts." Daniel, head of IT security, steps forward, cautious. How do you know that? Ethan turns, looks him dead in the eye, calm, unapologetic. Because I've been watching it happen for months. A ripple spreads, someone swears under their breath, but Ethan's already moving. Marker clicks again. He draws a bottleneck symbol, 2 arrows squeezing through a narrow gap. Labels it encoding mismatch, retry storm. Then beneath it 3 bullet points. Overflow triggers bypass incorrectly. Load balancer misroutes under thermal throttle. Checksum fails. Data shifts. Field mapping breaks. A senior engineer leans forward, staring. Wait, oh my God, that's why the vitals swap under high load. Ethan nods. Quiet, measured. Yes, his voice carries no ego, no demand for recognition, just fact. He taps the diagram. The firmware's fine, the hardware's fine. This is a concurrency error buried in the middleware translation layer. Another engineer stammers. That's not where we were looking. Ethan nods again. I know. His gaze softens, not smug, not condescending, just honest. You were chasing the noise, not the signal. A long pause. Then without waiting for permission, he turns to the console station, brings up the live logs. Fingers fly, not hesitant, not searching, purposeful, precise. He scrolls, highlights, points. See this timestamp packet retries spike right before Node 5's thermal throttle kicks in. It creates a feedback loop, floods the translation queue. Data gets reshuffled, misassigned. He gestures. It's not random, it's predictable, patterned. Someone whispers Jesus. Another louder, now he's right. Daniel glances at Olivia, his face half disbelief, half relief. Ethan doesn't notice, or pretends not to. He pulls open a side window, types fast, runs a simulated load test. The screen flickers, graphs populate, error rates spike, then stabilize, then crash precisely where he said they would. The room watches, silent, transfixed. Ethan circles one last section on the board. A simple box, solution. Beneath it in clean block letters, isolate translation threads, async retry handler patch, load balancer temp threshold fix. Silence. Then the CTO, voice cracking but firm, says the only thing anyone can say. Do it. Ethan caps the marker, sets it down, folds his arms. Let's. The moment the first line of legacy code loads on screen, Ethan goes still. Not physically, but something in his posture shifts. His shoulders tighten not from stress, but memory, muscle memory. Lines of code scroll past, white text on black. Familiar, too familiar. A version header blinks at the top. Module Sync Translate v1.0. Authored E. Brooks, 8 years ago. His own name, still there, buried deep. A ghost left behind in a system that forgot who built it. No one in the room speaks. They don't need to. Everyone sees it. The timestamp, the author tag, the connection. Daniel mutters under his breath. You wrote this. Ethan's fingers hover over the keyboard. His eyes narrow, not in panic, in calculation, in recognition. He answers, quiet, steady. Yeah, I did. A pause. He inhales, slow, controlled. Then without looking away from the screen adds, and I know exactly where the bodies are buried. No humor in it, just truth. He types, fast, smooth, no hesitation. The window splits into side-by-side diffs. The original framework on the left, the current bloated, patched, poorly understood fork on the right. He scrolls, matches functions, finds the culprit, a line, barely noticeable, an asynchronous thread handler, misaligned queue priority. Something tiny, something stupid, something that would never show itself until the system scaled beyond what it was designed for. A line he wrote 8 years ago, a flaw his flaw. It lands heavy, but not like guilt, not like regret, more like inevitability. The knowledge that even the best work leaves behind cracks. His fingers pause, a breath. Then firm, he deletes the faulty block, opens a new window, starts rewriting. This, his voice, is half to himself, half to the room, was designed for single-threaded sync. back when load caps were a tenth of what they are now. No async prioritization, no back pressure controls. He highlights another section, every patch since just stacked more duct tape on top of a faulty foundation. A younger developer leans forward whispering, "He's not wrong." Another murmurs, "I think this explains the handshake collapses. Ethan's hands don't stop. I designed it before we even had the remote telemetry module, before live hospital feeds. The moment you added multi-endpoint sync without rewriting the thread controller, this was inevitable." His voice sharpens, not angry, focused. This isn't a bug that popped up. Fingers type faster, lines appear, function names, thread balance, priority, failover, safe, queue handler build themselves under his hands. This, he taps the enter key, has been waiting to happen for years. A graph on the corner monitor updates. Live error rates tick down just from the sandboxed patch running in parallel. Someone exhales loudly. "Holy, it's working." Daniel squints. "Wait. You're not just fixing the bug, you're optimizing the whole sync framework." Ethan nods. "Yeah, because bandaging it won't hold. Not anymore." A senior back-end lead murmurs. "He's rewriting half the data pipeline in real time." No one moves, no one dares breathe too loud. Ethan stops, runs the simulation, watches. The packet overflow graph flattens, error counts 0 out, CPU load balances perfectly across all endpoints. He scans the logs, once, twice, a third time, checks, double checks. Then his fingers hover one last key, the final commit. His thumb taps the spacebar, then enter. The system blinks. Updates push, nodes recalibrate. The fatal error clears. Gone. For a long moment, silence. Then the CTO slumps into his chair. "You just saved this company." A junior engineer mutters, "No." He just saved the entire product. But Ethan doesn't react. His eyes stay fixed on the screen, on the commit log, on the name tagged in the corner, author E. Brooks, revision 8 years later. His hand runs down his face, slow, controlled. Then he leans back, folds his arms, breathes, not relief, not pride, closure, something done, something set right. A soft voice cuts the silence. "Olivia, thank you." Ethan doesn't look at her. Not yet. His gaze stays on the screen a second longer. Then he nods, small, quiet, final. "Let's keep it running this time." The room holds its breath. No one speaks, no one dares. On the far wall, the dashboard flickers. For the first time in hours, no red, no orange, no error spikes, just green. Solid, calm, steady. Packet flow, stable. Latency, flat. CPU load, balanced. Every critical node, node 5 included, shows a simple glowing indicator operational. Daniel leans forward, hands on knees, watching as if waiting for it to break again. For something, anything to flicker wrong. But it doesn't. A junior engineer runs another test, then another. Fingers tremble, not from panic this time, but disbelief. "The sync holds," he whispers. Under full load it holds. No one responds. No high fives, no applause. Just stunned silence. Because everyone in this room knows what this means. How close they were. How easily this could have gone the other way. At the far side of the room, Olivia stands slightly apart. Not seated. Not slouched like some. Her arms fold, not defensive, just grounding. Her gaze shifts. First to the wall of screens, the quiet green, then to the glass. Beyond it, her own reflection stares back, dim, fractured by layers of light. But behind that reflection, another figure. Ethan, not inside the room, not claiming credit, not standing by the console anymore, just leaning against the hallway wall, watching, silent, steady. Her breath comes, slow, controlled. She hadn't realized how tightly she'd been holding it until now. A long exhale slips past her lips. Shoulders relax just a fraction. The weight doesn't vanish, but shifts. Something unwinds. Inside the room, the CTO sinks into his chair, one hand over his mouth, the other gripping his own wrist like an anchor. His voice breaks the silence, but barely. A whisper more than a sentence. It's fixed. Daniel nods, doesn't look up. Yeah. His voice is thinner than usual. It's holding. No one corrects him. No one elaborates. Because what else is there to say? The room, the same one that was a war zone of accusations an hour ago, now feels hollow. Not empty, but quiet in a different way. A kind of reverence. Or maybe humility. Humility in the face of something that none of them could fix. That someone they never noticed just did. Ethan doesn't look through the glass. Not directly. His eyes stay on the screen. Watching the flow graphs pulse. The logs scroll clean. His arms are folded. His weight leans against the wall, not tired. Just finished. No pride, no swagger, no victory lap. Just a quiet confirmation that what was broken is now whole. Olivia watches him. Studies the angle of his shoulders. The stillness in his posture. Something twists behind her ribs. Not regret, not guilt, not exactly. Something harder to name, something closer to recognition. Inside the room, a compliance officer starts gathering files. Quiet, careful, as if any sudden movement might undo the balance just achieved. Legal clears his throat, but the sentence he starts never finishes. Because no one knows how to finish it. What do you say after a man you thought was a janitor saves your entire company? What do you say after realizing he was never just anything a beat passes? Then another. No words come, just the soft, steady glow of green lights. Alive, stable, working. For the first time, the room realizes how beautiful green can be. Olivia's fingers tighten slightly across her arms, then relax. She turns, steps back from the glass, leaves the reflection behind. Her heels echo against the tile, each step lighter than the one before. Because something just shifted, not just in the system, in her. The atrium fills slowly, a sea of faces, engineers, designers, marketing, maintenance, security. Executives in pressed suits stand shoulder to shoulder with interns in hoodies. No one knows exactly why they were called. No memo explained it. No subject line gave anything away. Just all hands, mandatory. 9 a.m. A nervous buzz floats, whispers, half jokes. Are we getting bought, layoffs, or new bonuses? But none of those guesses feel right. Not today, not after last night. The side doors swing open. Olivia steps onto the small platform set against the east wall. Not the main stage, not the polished glass podium used for product launches, just a simple wooden riser. Eye level with everyone. Her heels click, then stop. She doesn't hold a microphone, doesn't need one. When she speaks, the room folds into silence. Her voice isn't loud, isn't commanding, but it carries, clear, measured, unmistakable. I wanted to start today with a story, a pause. Her hands rest loosely in front of her. No slides, no charts, not one from a business book, not from an earnings report, but one that lives right here. She taps her chest once, light, steady. Her gaze sweeps the crowd, not over them, into them. You know, I've spent my entire career believing I understood how to measure value. Credentials, resumes, performance reviews, metrics, KPIs, a breath. Not shaky, just heavier. I believe that's how you build a company, how you recognize contribution, how you decide who matters. Murmurs ripple, uncomfortable, uneasy. She nods, not defensive, not apologetic, just true. Last night, everything I believed about that broke. A pause. Because last night, the person who saved this company wasn't sitting in a corner office. He wasn't wearing a badge that said senior engineer or director. She swallows. He was pushing a janitor cart. Silence. Absolute. Not a shuffle, not a whisper, just stillness. Her hands fold tighter, but her voice doesn't waver. Many of you know Ethan Brooks as the person who keeps our floors clean, who resets our conference rooms, who fixes the lights when they flicker. A soft glance toward the back. A figure stands half-shadowed by the doorway, silent, still. But what most of you didn't know, her voice dips, softens, strengthens, is that Ethan also built the very foundation our entire platform runs on. Gasps, audible, a ripple like wind cutting through wheat. Her eyes hold steady. 8 years ago, before most of us were even here, Ethan was the lead systems architect behind the Sync Translate module, the backbone of our data integrity framework, a breath. And when that framework failed last night and none of us could fix it, he did. Hands shift over mouths, eyes widen. Someone in the front lowers their coffee, forgotten. Olivia steps forward just half a step. I'm telling you this not to embarrass anyone, not to shame, but because if someone like Ethan can be invisible here. Her voice tightens, but not with anger, with something harder, more vulnerable. Then what does that say about what we've chosen to see, about who we choose to notice, about how we decide what matters? The air feels heavier, denser, people shift, not away, toward, closer. Her hands unfold, palms open, a gesture as much to herself as to them. If you've ever felt unseen, unheard, overlooked here, her throat catches. I need you to know that ends today. A long pause, because talent doesn't always wear a title. Her gaze lifts, finds him, Ethan, standing near the service entrance, back straight, shoulders quiet, hands in his pockets, not trying to disappear, not anymore. Ethan Brooks. Her voice steadies, is no longer just our facilities technician. Starting today, he's our senior systems integrity advisor. A ripple. A breath held across hundreds of lungs. Applause doesn't come right away, not because it isn't deserved, but because it takes a second for everyone to understand what just happened. Then it starts, slow, scattered, then louder, rising, not polite, not forced, real. Hands clap, shoes stomp, someone whistles, a few shout his name. Ethan doesn't move at first, just lets it happen, lets it wash over him. Then slowly, one hand lifts, a quiet wave, simple, steady, acknowledgement, not acceptance of praise, just presence. Olivia steps back, breathes. For the first time, maybe ever, this company feels like it belongs to everyone in this room. The applause fades, slowly, gently. Not like applause ever ends in boardrooms. This fades like waves pulling back from the shore. A quiet remains, not awkward, not empty, just full of something new, something overdue. Olivia steps down from the riser, moves toward the side entrance where Ethan stands. The crowd parts, not out of obligation, out of respect. She stops in front of him, not towering, not commanding, just level. A long breath. Then quietly, so only he can hear. I meant what I said. The offer's real. CTO. Her gaze holds. Name it. The seat's yours. A beat. Ethan's hands stay in his pockets, shoulders steady, eyes softer than anyone in this building has ever seen them. He smiles. Small. Not dismissive. Not sarcastic, just honest. Thank you. His voice is warm. Gentle, but no. Olivia's brow lifts, a flicker of surprise. No. He shakes his head. I've spent too many years building systems, watching them break, watching people fall through the cracks those systems create. A pause. His hands finally slip free. One gesture's not big, just enough to mean this whole place. I don't want to fix systems anymore. His gaze lifts. I want to fix people's access to them. A breath, then clear. Give me the community tech program. Olivia blinks. You mean Harborview? He nods. Expand it, fund it, grow it. Turn it into something that makes sure the next janitor doesn't get missed, doesn't get left behind. Her eyes soften, shoulders relax. A beat, then another. Done. Her voice is quiet, steady. Director of Community Technology Access. Build it however you want, however big you want. Ethan's smile spreads, not wide, just real. Deal. Cut to the Harborview Community Center. But not as it was. Gone are the flickering lights, the peeling walls, the duct-tape tables. In their place, new workstations, bright screens, soldering stations, 3D printers hum in the corner, shelves of tools, rows of circuit kits, whiteboards filled with code snippets and project diagrams. The room is alive, laughter, chatter, the rhythmic click of keyboards, the soft whir of servos testing motors. Kids cluster around a central table, assembling a robot no taller than a coffee mug. Wheels click into place. Sensors blink. At the front, Ethan kneels next to Sophie, his daughter, now leading a group of younger kids. Okay, Sophie grins. Who remembers what a PWM signal does? A chorus of hands. One boy shouts it controls motor speed exactly, Sophie beams. So if the robot's turning too fast, lower the duty cycle, another kid finishes. Ethan leans back, watches, doesn't correct, doesn't step in, just lets her lead. On the far wall, a plaque gleams. Simple, matte finish. No corporate branding. Harborview Technology Lab. Built for second chances. Beneath it, smaller text. Solve it. Teach it. Pass it on. Near the entrance, Olivia stands. Arms crossed but relaxed. Not corporate, not commanding. Just watching. Next to her, Nathan, her son, laughs as he shows a younger girl how to debug a line of code. His fingers fly. His eyes light up. Olivia shakes her head, smiling. He never sat still for math homework. Ethan steps up beside her, wipes his hands on a rag, leans against the wall. Turns out math's more interesting when it makes robots move. His voice carries the ghost of a grin, a beat of comfortable silence. Then Olivia glances sideways. You could have had the corner office, you know. Ethan chuckles, soft. I do have a corner office. He nods toward the back where a tiny room holds stacks of refurbished laptops, shelves of wires, and a coffee maker that's seen better days. Her laugh is real, unpolished, surprising even herself. The kids cheer. The robot jitters forward, then spins in place. A wheel pops loose. Everyone groans, then laughs again. Ethan pushes off the wall, walks back toward the table, kneels. Helps a kid reconnect the ground wire. Not doing it for them, just guiding, teaching, passing it on. Olivia watches, her arms loosen, her breath lighter. For the first time in a very long time, the world feels exactly as it should be. The sun hangs low, a copper disk sinking beyond the harbor skyline. Its light spills gold across the rippling water. Soft reflections dance on the glass windows of the Harborview Center. The air smells of salt solder and freshly cut plywood. Ethan stands on a ladder, drill in hand, wood dust in his hair. Below, Olivia holds the corner steady. Sophie balances a level tool against the frame, squinting with absolute focus. Liam, Olivia's son, braces the other end, tongue caught between his teeth in concentration. The sign is simple, clean, handcrafted. No neon, no logos, no polished brass, just dark-stained cedar. Letters carved deep into the grain, built for second chances, underneath smaller text burned into the wood Harborview Technology and Learning Center. Ethan tightens the last screw, steps back, wipes his hands on his jeans. Sophie lowers the level tool, nods satisfied. It's straight. Liam steps back, hands on hips, perfect. Olivia shields her eyes from the glare, studies it. Yeah, it is. For a moment no one speaks, the only sound the gulls calling in the distance, the soft lapping of the tide against the pier. The sign catches the last light of day. Letters glow amber against the wood. Ethan glances sideways. Didn't think I'd ever hang my name on anything again. His voice not sad, not bitter, just honest. Olivia smiles. Not the corporate kind, the real kind. It's not just your name. Her hand gestures toward the building, toward the open doors where laughter and the hum of 3D printers drift out. It belongs to everyone who walks through here. Sophie leans against his side, and everyone who will. Ethan's hand rests gently on her shoulder. Yeah, exactly that. Liam looks up. So we done? Olivia glances at Ethan, a smile shared. A silent agreement passed. Not done. Ethan answers. Just starting right. A quiet settles, the good kind, the kind that holds everything together without needing to say more. Sophie fishes something from her backpack. A sticker. Faded. A rocket ship. The same one peeling off her hoodie months ago. Without asking, she sticks it to the corner of the sign, presses it down, smooths it twice. Ethan arches a brow. Really, Sophie grins. Every ship needs a launch pad. Liam laughs. It stays. Olivia chuckles. Agreed. The four of them step back, shoulders nearly touching, watching as the sun slips lower, bathing the sign, the center, and their faces in the last warm light of the day. The camera holds. No music, no words, just the soft roll of waves, the laughter from inside. The simple truth of four silhouettes standing against the sky. As the light fades, the sign catches one last shimmer, letters glowing as if lit from within. Built for second chances. A story finished. A story just begun. The sun dips behind the harbor. The sign reads, Built for second chances. A man who once fixed broken systems now teaches others to build. A woman who once measured success in numbers now measures it in lives changed. And somewhere between two different worlds, they both found something neither expected. A second chance. Maybe that's the quiet truth in all of this, that sometimes the people we overlook are the ones holding everything together. And sometimes the life you rebuild turns out better than the one you lost. If stories like this speak to you, if you believe second chances matter, then maybe leave a like or subscribe. It helps more than you think, and it lets us keep sharing the kind of stories that don't always make headlines but probably should. Thank you for watching.